Okay, first, let me introduce myself. My name is Joel. I am from the Philippines, and if you are free, come the weekend of March 3 to 5, you can visit us here and join us for a weekend filled with good food, good friends, and good magic. Uh, have had the privilege of head judging a lot of events, from the very small to the very large, and I've worked them all. So for this evening, let me be your guide as we go through lessons I have learned from my years of judging, and hopefully you'll be able to pick up a thing or two that you could apply at your own event. Okay, so the first lesson out of 7 is know your venue. So this is very straightforward. As a head judge, you should be familiar with the place where the tournament is going to be held. Usually, it's going to be in a local store that you frequent, so you can easily factor in travel or where to park your car or what train station to go off when you go there. But sometimes you would be asked to head judge a store that is totally new for you. It happens. So knowing the place or at least being aware of the things you should know is important. What time would you need to leave home to be able to go to the venue on schedule? Does the store have Wi-Fi or event link? I remember from I remember there was an event here where the bathroom was a bit far from the venue, and this venue was outside. So on that day, it was raining very hard. So like doing bathroom breaks were very it was a challenge. I mean, you can't really solve those kinds of problem, but it is a good lesson to know that an umbrella might be a good object to bring in case you ever judge in that venue again. At the end of the day, familiarity will eventually set in. You would probably have a checklist on what you would want the venue to have, or at least a list of things you can ask the owner that will better inform you of how the flow of the tournament would be. So again, this lesson is second nature to most judges. Just need to remember, have a venue checklist, and everything should be well. And for lesson number 2, know your tournament organizer. This person is oftentimes someone you've known for a long time already. So knowing them should be fairly easy. If that is the case, then you are probably already head judging their small to medium events. My lesson here is, even though you are friends, both of you need to treat your judging as a business arrangement. If he is expecting a lot more players, he should not expect you to be able to handle all of those realistically on your own. You should have at least an idea of how much the compensation would be, or would there be food included when you judge. As the head judge, you should at least know if he has some sort of plan if something happens during the event, like someone getting sick, or the weather is getting worse, etc. It's not up to you to solve them again, but it would be a good to know as most players would defer to you during those times. You see, the head judge is the face of the event. You are the main point person, so you are expected to know more than what you think you should. If there is a big water spill in one of the tables, they usually call you, not the store owner. You are the face of the event. So when I say knowing the tournament organizer, it means knowing what the TO plans to do when these things happen. Just so that we are clear, if you want to know personal stuff about the TO, well, it's up to you. But in this instance, being well informed about their plans should suffice. For lesson 3, it's know your event. The third lesson I wish to share with you is that knowing your event is important. Most most store events don't need a judge. This is very true. If they do, it is usually because it's a special event like an RCQ, or the event is being run in competitive and the price structure is significantly higher. As a head judge, especially a first-time head judge of these kinds of event, it is imperative that you be on top of this information even before the event happens. You don't want to be using jar rules while handling complicated infractions like hidden card errors. Believe me, believe me. The event itself has a very simple checklist. How many rounds? What's the rule enforcement level? Does it have giveaways? What's the prices? These are your checklists at the minimum and should always be on top of your things I should know about this event list. As you gain more and more event experience, again, these things would be second nature to you when you run events. You would be able to impart this learning to newer stores and eventually to newer judges as well moving forward. For the fourth lesson, I feel this is a case-to-case basis, but I always like to be familiar with the format that I am head judging, even if it's a format that I don't play. You as a head judge are obviously expected to know the rules regardless of what format is being played, but having some sort of cheat sheet, as you will, for certain formats clearly is a big advantage. Example, how often do blood moon questions come up in modern tournaments? How do you handle extra cards in brainstorm, in legacy? Do you know what affinity card is banned in Pauper? What is the new policy regarding missing Ursa Saga triggers? Actually, there is no policy. Just trying to see if you are still paying attention to lesson number 3. Again, yes, we are discussing lesson number 4. Still making sure you are all there. Judging pre-releases are especially fun this way. It's a good thing that release notes are given out early to help. Players are particularly not familiar with new cards, so you being the judge in that event means a bit more homework for you before the event. Again, for me, this lesson are cheat codes. It makes answering rules and policy questions easier if you are familiar with the format, but it's not necessary for you to actually master them. All right. Moving on to lesson number 5, which is know your team. Uh, when you do get your first head judge work for, say, events outside your normal store, it would often involve a team which you will undoubtedly be in charge of. So feel that power soaring through your veins as you get to task some people to walk around and answer rules question or post paper with names or count deck lists with 60 cards. I missed Yorion, you know. Having great power, they say, means more compensation. But in reality, it should mean more responsibility. This makes you the leader, but not the boss of these amazing individuals. They would have needs as well. Their game rules and policy knowledge will probably be different from yours or the others, and it is your job to bring the best of them to give the event the best possible outcome. Some of them might want to learn how to properly investigate. If you are just starting to head judge as well, this could be a teaching moment for both of you. So align each member to what you think they will be the strongest in or what you think they would need to be familiar with more so that they can level up as well. Um, I remember I had been given feedback when I had judged that they had enjoyed the task that they were put in that day, which is very fulfilling to hear. But I've also received feedback that they have been deck checked for too long and would appreciate having been assigned somewhere else. So, learn this lesson well. You would eventually work with this person again, and knowing your team will work wonders for you. Trust me on this. So, as we move on to the 6th lesson, I would first like you to get a glass of water or a drink just to help get the blood flowing. Hopefully, the short walk to the kitchen will accomplish that. So if you want to get something, like just for a minute, I'll pause and then go back to the next lesson. Do some stretching. Enjoy the picture of the Filipino judges circa 2000, I don't know, 2000 something. All right. I hope you are back and the kitchen is very near. So moving on. So for lesson number 6, it's know your goals. When you are asked to fill out applications for events, sometimes there is a question there that reads, what are your goals for this event, right? Have you seen them? So when you head judge for the first time or starting to head judge, have this question always with you. What are your goals for this event? Maybe you answer earn money. That's good. It's very common actually. It could also be get my level 2 checklist underway. Wonderful. That's very wonderful goal. Some would even say chance to do some investigations. It does not usually happen often, but hey, if it does, then it would definitely be a good learning experience for you. When I was a bit more active in judging, one of my goals every event was learn something new about my co-judges. You know, I'm a people person, which, you know, obviously I would use later on life to embarrass them or blackmail them. But hey, you have goals, right? So you have to set them. Your goals could also be in line, or actually should be in line with that of the tournament organizer. You want no fights, obviously. You want player to return. You want to be able to end early so that you can still catch the train going home. These are all amazing goals, and you should always have them when you judge, especially if you are head judging, and for sure if you have not yet head judged a lot of events. Having goal, having goals is one of the most important lesson that you can take away from any event. And lastly, for lesson 7, as you grow into the role of being a head judge, you should also know your limits. Making game rulings in Magic usually means that one person will be happy and one will not. It's just the way it is. And as you know, this means you will sometimes hear complaints. Actually, not sometimes, but most of the time. It is even more pronounced when you make a mistake in your ruling that causes a player to lose the game. I tell you now, these things happen. You are, after all, human. Even higher level judges make mistakes. So if you make a wrong ruling now as a level 1, know that you still have 2 more judge levels of mistakes ahead of you. So look forward to them. Besides making mistake, your body is not a machine. You will get tired. If you go back to your home or hotel room and fall asleep still wearing your judging attire, don't be sad. It happens to a lot of judges. It happens to a lot of judges. Also, if you feel your work is underappreciated by the tournament organizer and that your compensation is not reflective of the work that you did, know that you are not alone in that feeling. At one point in their judging career, I'm sure a lot of head judges have felt that. And it too shall pass. Do not be afraid to ask for help. if you are uncertain of a ruling, even if you are the head judge of the event. We live in a world where information is literally a few steps away. Actually, it's a few types away from your phone. Judges are, in my personal experience, the most helpful group of people. So it's not going to be difficult to find the correct answer immediately. Know that you have limits, work on them, let them be a motivation, not a barricade on growing your skill. So these are my lessons that I wish to impart to you, especially those of you yet to judge an event either by themselves or with a team. I hope you can apply what you can in your events and hopefully come up with your own lessons that you would be able to share as well. So thank you very much for your time. And if you have questions, comments, or suggestions, we still have a lot of time. So please feel free to do so in the chats.
Thank you very much, Joel. So the floor is now open for questions. You can type it on the chat. You can also try to unmute yourself one at a time.
Yeah, for those who would like to share their own experience, just let the moderator know, and or you could just unmute.
So there is a question from Sugeng. Sugeng asked, how do we know our own limit? It's a very interesting question. And I think that the answer to that will depend on you personally. It's going to be different from each judge. For me personally, how do I know my limit? Uh, as you know, uh, I have some difficulty moving around or even standing up for a long time. So I know I'm reaching my limit when I would usually go hide or go stay near the stage and find a place where I can sit there, quote unquote, working, but actually just resting. So that's where I reach my limit. But the good thing is that it recharges me to be able to work again. I mean, you get tired. You get tired a lot. As I've said, you're not a machine. Your limit could be physical. Your limit could be mental. Sometimes you just don't know how to answer a rules question or a policy question. So that's a limit. So as I've said, don't be afraid to ask for help. Judges are very helpful. So it's going to always be uh something that they can help you with. All right. So Jonelle asked, when was the first time you head judge? Okay. So I was certified 2006 and I have been judging ever since. So normally uh the events during those times were grand prix trials. So that's the I don't know if you're still familiar with those. So those were the events that I usually head judge. So it's been a long. The first big event that I head judge or like with the team was nationals, Philippine nationals back in 20, 2010 or 29. I'm not I don't quite remember what year it was, but I think that was the first time I was head judge for this big of an event. I don't remember who won. Again, my goal was to know my co-judges and eventually get dirt from them that I still use up to this day to blackmail them. All right. Another question. How did you do a mentally preparation for first time head judge? Okay. So uh uh when you there's actually a difference between judging for the first time and head judging for the first time. So if you are if it's not the first time that you are judging in an event, uh it's just the first time that you are head judging it, it's going to be fairly easy because your mental preparation would be uh similar to how you prepare for that event normally. Like for example, if you're asked to head judge a pre-release in your local store, I'm sure it would not be very difficult because you probably know all the players there. They've always asked you the question, even if you're just playing in the event. So you're in your home store. The feeling is there's a feeling of familiarity that you have. So tackling questions uh is not going to be a big of an issue. And the mental preparation that you would have to do is relatively easy. If you are asking how to mentally prepare for a bigger event, like for example, you have Thailand Open or I don't know what big events that you have in your area that you surely have a team. I I advise my advice is that uh ask for advices from other judges in your area that have done the head judging before or have done uh big events before. uh they will not only help you ease into the role, they will surely provide good advices because the thing about judging is that everyone had had a mentor at some point. So they also had a mentor that had to guide them through the process. And now it's their turn to guide you. That's I think that's how judging is for most people. They have a mentor, they have someone who teaches them the ropes, and it's just a cycle. So 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 that is like my advice for those situations. Find someone who can help you prepare mentally, physically, and then let them guide you through the process. All right. All right. Question from Joshua. In your first time being a head judge, was there a situation in which you are called by a player who seemed to know the rules more than you and tries to argue with you? If yes, what did you do? Okay. Not exactly that kind of scenario, but I once had uh, a situation where a player, or rather, I was a player. I was a player, and this person called the judge, and when he did not like the answer, complained that the judges were biased because I'm a judge as well. Basically saying that of course they will side with you because you're a judge as well. So I know that's totally different, but what I'm trying to get at is that uh there will always be people where their opinion will differ from you, either because they think that your answer is biased or they think they know more than you. And what I would like to tell these people is that first, please calm down. We are still in a game, and if you feel that uh, my answer as the head judge is wrong, then I understand. But as it is, the ruling that I made will stand. And if you want to discuss it further, you are welcome to talk to me after your match. I think that is the most diplomatic way of handling that, because there's a lot of people for sure that will think that they know more than you, and they might be correct. They could, they probably, sometimes they are right, but that doesn't mean that they should uh harass you just because they feel that it's their right to do so. Always stay calm when talking to these kinds of people, and know that they are probably frustrated because your ruling does not favor them. As I've said, uh, uh, in the limits portion, there will always be unhappy players. All right. Okay. Did I miss some? Okay. From Ace Herrera, have you DQ'd a player or caught a player cheating? How did you handle this? Okay. So I don't like to do, I don't so no names, but yes, I have disqualified a player, and obviously the player was frustrated. This was I think this was a Grand Prix in Singapore or somewhere in Southeast Asia. So he, uh, when he calmed down, I tried to, as what I did, I tried to make him realize the mistake that he did, and have him try to look it from my perspective as the judge, because maybe in his perspective he actually didn't do anything wrong, but from a judge's perspective, which is looking from the outside, he actually did. When he realized that, he calmed down. He was very helpful. I don't know, for some reason he also wanted to become a judge. I don't know what happened to him after that event, if he actually became a judge. But as long as you talk to the players properly, and uh, they are calm enough to understand that you are just doing your job and what you think is the best for the event, most of the time disqualifications are fairly easy. Fairly easy. You obviously would have outliers, but it's normally fairly easy. All right. I'm not sure if I'm missing a question, or uh or it happens in MTG. Okay. I think that's it. I'm not sure if I'm missing any more questions. If we don't have any more questions, I think I'm done, Felix. I thank you all for the questions and the comments. I'm going to sign off now if you don't have any more questions.
All right, thanks so much, Joel. Anyone else from the crowd would like to share their experience or the lessons they've learned? Oh, there's another question, Joel.
All right. Okay, from Dino. All right. So, when you were asked to head judge a large tournament for the first time, would you say that when you said yes, you were really ready to handle it? Because I'm sure I wasn't. All right. Yes, yes. When I was like the event that I mentioned was uh nationals. Uh when I was asked to head judge that event, uh, uh it's not the first time that I've actually judged events. Or and it's not the first time that I've actually head judge events. It's just the first time that it's a big event. So when that opportunity came, I was ready. I was expecting it actually because I think I made level 3 that year. So the what do you call this one? Sinclair, which was the which is art, which is I don't know if you know art, but he was art like a decade ago. Talked to me and said, okay, so you're going to be head judge of nationals this year. So prepare your team, prepare your no. So I was ready for it. But for the events that was relatively small to head judge, I remember head judging events for NG in Galleria, some GPTs and PTQs. Uh it was different then, I think, because I usually have we usually work in since there was only one store during that time. Me and another judge is not judging anymore. Usually work most of their events together. So it was it it was easy because we had a we had a we had a good working relationship, and we were able to complement each other's work. So it was not very difficult during those times. All right. Okay. I think that's it. Okay. That's it. I think that's it. Uh, okay. If there's no more questions, any more questions? No more questions, suggestions, comments. All right. All right. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
All right, thanks
Uh,
so much. Yeah, sorry.